Right, we should be live now. Trisha's already in. I was just about to message Trisha. So I'm just checking the sound levels. You can hear me all right, Richie, in that, can't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Right, I'll just turn my headphones up a little bit. Can everybody hear me all right in the chat rooms? Okay. Just sort that out. Sound levels. Oh, that's great. Yeah, Richie, good to see you, mate. From your recovering of your flu, how are you feeling?
Sound mate, I just needed a Skype. Damn, sound mate, much better. It's just that whoever, if anybody's caught that, like, I feel sorry for you because it was a. Normally with colds and flus, Cabby, I'm all right. I can get over it. I can still continue on with my day, take a couple of tablets, but whatever that was, it was horrible. Like, so hopefully I won't get that again. Like, how are you doing yourself, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just working hard. Good evening, Trisha. She says, good evening, Cabby, Richie, Davey, and Kev. I hope you're well. This is also evening to my fellow Black Cats and Dougie, the moderator, and with Trisha, the moderator. Hope you are all well. Trisha says, we're going to have to find a shorter welcome sentence, guys, instead of typing all of your names. I suggest the MACKEM crew. What suggestions has the membership got? Yeah, absolutely, Trisha. We will have a little look and think about that. What can we call our show? I mean, yeah, we'll have a think about that as well. I mean, obviously talk to Kev as well, because originally it just started with the MACKEM, Cabbie and Davey show. Then Richie joined on, and then unfortunately with Davey with his health problems. But I was just liking to keep Davey's name in the chat, you know, as a respect. But we will have a look at that. Bong, how are you doing? Welcome along to the show tonight. Cheers, Dougie says welcome to the show. Ian Brown says hello, lads. Good to see Richie back as well. It's fine here, says Trisha. Yeah, everything's fine. Lee Brannan, hello, Lee. How are you? Hello, Janet. Colin Major, how are you doing? Yeah, then so Richie, there's plenty gossip and this and that and the other regarding like the transfers and stuff. There's a lot of Sunderland fans saying, you know, that are we looking at kids? Are we looking at kids too much? I mean, we're in the Premier League now. Surely we need some experienced heads coming in, do we not?
Yeah, mate. Cabby, to be honest with you, right, I've lost total interest in transfers at the minute because it's just one thing after another. We're linked to like millions of different players, and it just, in the end, well, for me, in any way, I just get like sick of it because like I'd rather have something set in stone, you know what I mean, or it's a very strong link to a transfer. But obviously, with the transfer window closing again now. It's kind of just took on, it's like a back foot for me. Like I haven't really been interested in any of it. But I've seen like, you know, who have been linked with, obviously that centre half from Toulouse.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his name, it's the under-21 international, isn't he, for England? And then obviously I've seen as well, you know, when you're posting your videos about the young lad from Man City as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all very well and good getting these wonder kids, you know what I mean? And these kids who are like got bright futures, you know, we've got like one myself already, we've got Chris Rigg, you know. But are they going to be good enough to step up to the plate to play Premiership football, like in the most ruthless competition in the whole of Europe, in the whole of the world, where it's so physical, it's so fast, you know what I mean? It's worlds away from what these players, especially like that lad from the French league in Toulouse, he's going to be in for a massive shock if we get him. I'm all for signing prospects and wonder kids, right? But what I want to see from our club is bringing in players like you just said who've got the experience of playing top flight football. It doesn't have to necessarily be the Premier League. It could be any top flight league across Europe, across the world, wherever it is. But we've got to get players in with experience because if we don't, we're going to get absolutely hammered every single game next season with just playing kids. It's not going to work for a newly promoted team. But I've got full trust in obviously the the backroom team. They've proven a lot of us supporters wrong. With this 5-year plan, it's worked out in the end where we're all slating them and stuff. But we can't look too desperate as well. We can't just bring in anybody just because, you know what I mean? We've got to have quality brought in. I know we haven't got a lot to spend either. I was reading a little bit earlier this week that there isn't a lot of available to us to go out there and sign these players. But we've got to get, sort of like of a core, if you know what I mean, like a core of experience to come into to the team that's just been promoted from the championship. We've got to get some players in, but it's just one of them at the minute, Cabbie. We're just sort of in limbo, aren't we? We just don't know what's happening, who's going to be coming, this, that, and the other. It's one of those things, but bringing in youngins for me, maybe it's 1 or 2, but not all for transfers, mate.
Yeah, totally agree with what you're saying there. Dougie says too, Collins could be confusing, because Colin Rowlands has just popped in. How you doing, Colin? Good to see you. Hello, Steve Taylor. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for popping in. Says, good evening, guys. Hope you are well. Have you seen Giles and Steve post leaked fixtures? Says, noisy neighbours, Boxing Day and Easter Monday.
That won't happen, mate. Come on, man.
No, I can't see them putting it on Boxing Day. My God's sake, that'll be a recipe for a riot, that won't it?
Oh, mate, no. It just won't happen. And I think all the derby games are all earlier on as well. Aren't they? Normally 12:30 kickoffs. Imagine that on Boxing Day. They'll be up, man.
Janet says, bring on those fixtures. Bong says, Arsene Wenger started with kids, Richie. He says, we are still starting out again from the beginning. He says, we've got to have faith in the recruitment. I mean, to be fair, Richie did say in the end, he says, but we do sort of have to trust our recruitment, because look, we can't argue we're in the Premier League. It's, they've done what they've said they've aimed out to do with the 5-year plan. Yes, in the playoffs, but it don't matter. We've made it. That team has been good enough to get promoted from the Championship to the Premier League. So you cannot argue that the fact it's worked what they've done, because it's a hard bloody league, that Championship, to get out of it, and even harder to get through it on the playoffs. And the lads have done it, So you've got to take a massive hats off to the recruitment for doing so. Ian Brown, hello Ian, good to see you as well, mate. He says, we don't have many options for players. Why would top quality players want to come here and then go straight back down? I mean, that's all we keep hearing, isn't it? From everywhere, it's every team that gets promoted, they're going straight back down. Do you think that could be off-putting for any players coming here? They're thinking well, I don't want to join a club that potentially is only going to have one season in the Premier League and then get relegated again, and they'd rather go to a more established team like a Brentford or a Bournemouth or a Palace.
Well, yeah, of course it is. I'm not saying we need quality, you know what I mean, absolute world-class players. We don't need that. We just need some with a little bit of experience playing top flight. But yeah, obviously it's going to play a part. I mean, just put yourselves in their shoes, you know what I mean? If you're, you want to play in the Premier League, but if you're looking at these newly promoted teams, is Sunderland going to be your number one destination? They're going to look at the teams that are going to be like Leeds and Burnley first before, with the automatics, you know what I mean? Surely they're going to have the better squad and the better chance of surviving. And yes, it's going to be hard to bring players into a club, but there's got to be plenty out there, Cabbie, that want, first team football. You know what I mean? We can guarantee that to these bigger players. But there's also players out there who are out of contract. And I've seen a little mention. Can't remember what site it was on, but they were talking about Danny Welbeck, bringing Danny Welbeck back to Sunderland. Obviously, I think he's 33, 34, something like that now. Mm-hmm. He's an ideal player that we could bring back to our club. We need somebody up top. We need somebody with experience. Danny Welbeck's got a vast amount of experience.
And he loves Sunderland and all,
Yeah, he does. I remember after the game at St James's Park, Brighton playing them, and you know, what he said afterwards and the things that you've seen, you know, he was going, this one's for the MACKEMs, and somebody was giving the stick out there. And yeah, I thought, you know, that's the type of player that we want to bring back to our club. But we've just got to be careful, Cabbie. We can't just go out and sign a load of wonder kids, put them on decent contracts, and then if we get relegated next season, then obviously some of them might want to move on. Like, but there's plenty of experience out there. We've just got to be very clever with it.
Yeah, Welbeck and Henderson would be decent. I'm just getting a drink of water, Rich.
Aye. No bother, mate. But yeah, I think Welbeck and adding Welbeck and Henderson would be a massive shout. I don't know what everybody else in the chat thinks about that, but those are the types of players that we need to bring in. Imagine if we did sign Henderson and if we did actually get Welbeck in. Do you think that would be good business?
I do. I mean, even if we just get one season out of them, the goal this season is to stay up, like we shadow of a doubt. And it's just mad to think, though, isn't it? It's like, obviously, next season is going to be totally different. But going on the last league table of the Premier League, all Sunderland have got to do is be better than Tottenham Hotspur and Man United, and they'll stay up. And it sounds absolutely nuts, doesn't it? Because that was the only two teams that was above the relegation zones, was Spurs and Man United. And how crazy is that?
It is. But I don't think it'll be like that next season, mate.
Can it be? Surely, God, not. It's just bridging that big gap from bottom three to say, like, Spurs had their worst season, same as Man U. But the points tally between Man U and Spurs and the bottom three, or the third off bottom team, was about 27, 26 points. I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, it's like the bottom three is a mini league of its own, and then you got the rest of them upwards. The 17 teams above are in a separate league. That's the way it's heading. It's to bridge that gap. I mean, you look at the teams that went down now, like the Leicesters and the Ipswiches and Southampton. It's just a sea of red all the way down. Defeat after defeat after defeat. And I know we can easily look at it with rose-tinted glasses by, I look at the size of our stadium, look at our fans and all that, but it does play a part, but it's what's on the pitch that gets you survival, not your crowd. Your crowd is an add-on, of course it is, but it's what's on that pitch that matters. I mean, Bournemouth get like 11,000, 12,000, and yet they're well established, top half of the Premier League for years. And so where does the crowd makes a difference, or the size of your stadium makes a difference? Because I don't think it does. I mean, it's all about being on the pitch, as far as I'm concerned. You could have 100,000 filling the stadium with light and get a triple expansion, 100,000 like the new camp. But if your team ain't good enough, it's not going to affect the result, Rich.
No,
it might create a good atmosphere, but it's on the pitch that matters. Good evening to David Graham. How are you doing? He says, watching Chelsea v Los Angeles in the Atlantic Club World Cup on Channel 5. Yeah, he watched Bayern Munich win 10-0 a few days ago. Paul Stratton.
Crazy, that game.
Oh, it was mental, Paul Stratton, good evening to you. Good to see you. The Coventry fan says, hi, Cabbie and crew. I hope you are well. Your season tickets are through the roof. Brilliant. He says, hope you get all the players you want and need. Regards, as always, to Big Davey. Yeah, thank you very much, Paul, mate. And I often do pop into the Coventry chat rooms as well and see how you guys are doing, and with transfers, this and that. Tanganga, I think, is being sniffed from Millwall. So, possible Premier League club. So I think that'll be a good signing for Coventry. Maybe he's gone for him.
That's who we're in for, Cabbie. Tanganga, the centre.
We've looked in for it. We have looked in for it, and I think where Coventry's got to be careful though now is the fact, like, they've put themselves in the shop window because of reaching the playoff semi-final, and they have got some good players, they could get snapped up by Premier League teams or other teams in the top of the Championship, or the 3 teams that's coming down from the Premier League. It's a tricky one. Ian Brown says, I hope this isn't a recurring thing where the promoted teams go straight back down. It will do the Premier League nothing but harm if that did happen, because, I mean, how's that going to be a competitive, fair league when it's the 3 teams that's being promoted are relegated with 2 months to play in the season? What's the point? You know, you might as well just not have any teams going up from the Championship. It's just, it needs to sort itself out. You know, you want where it's like the bottom 8 or so, like, of battling away and having a proper slogfest, and and not just that. I mean, it's not much fun for the fans, is it? Yeah, it's great getting to the Premier League, but it's not going to be much fun, is it, if you're getting lambs to the slaughter every goddamn week you play?
Yeah. Yeah, of course it will. It'll be horrible, like, but at the end of the day, we've all got to remember as Sunderland supporters where we come from. I mean, with us being poorly last week, I watched the whole of Sunderland Till I Die again.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
It's just mental, man. Just watching it, starting with the first season again. Obviously, when we got down the Championship, we had all them players that just didn't want to be there, and just where we ended up, even, I know this is easy to say before the season starts, but honestly, I don't care if we do, if that does happen to us. Obviously, I care and I love the club, but I don't mind because we're back in the Premier League. And even if we come back down to the Championship, we've still got another massive shout, with the money that we'll be bringing in. So I think, just be proud of where we are and where we've come from. And, and just, no matter if we get to smash 5-0 off Man City or whatever it is, I'm sure every single Sunderland fan in that stadium will still be singing the heart out for the team, So, but it's going to be tough, but I think we're going to be in for some surprises next season, like CABBIE. I mean, on the look of it, I mean, now Brentford have lost Thomas Frank and he's gone to Spurs. I think Brentford might struggle next season because obviously a lot of their players are getting touted as well. And I think even the likes of like Fulham, maybe Bournemouth, they might struggle next season as well. And they might be the ones that will be battling it out for it. I definitely think, I definitely think Brentford will struggle next season. Like, I just cannot see them. After a loss of having Thomas Frank, one of the best coaches in the Premier League's had in recent years,
that is a good point, Richie. Like, yeah, I mean, he's been, how long has he been with Brentford? A few years, hasn't he?
I don't know exactly, but he's been there quite a while, like, mate, and he's brought a sort of a culture to Brentford. There was a little spot that he did on Sky Sports a little while back, and he was talking about the culture that he brought to the club, and the players were saying that this is what's helped with develop and become better and become a better team and a better, club environment. Depends who they bring in, but to replace somebody like that, CABBIE, it's not going to be easy. And like I say, a lot of their players are getting touted off after now, the likes of Wissam and Bemu. I think that's how you say it. You know what I mean? So I think they're going to be a team that are going to be down there with for next season. But there's quite a few. And you know how fast the Premier League can change. You know what I mean? But as long as we put up a good fight, and we'll get recruitment right, why not?
I mean, the Premier League's changed a lot even from when we were last in it. I mean, what's made it harder? I mean, people say since the rules have come in, where the teams that come up aren't allowed to spend as much. I mean, it's making it. Some say it's virtually making it impossible for the teams coming up. When other teams can spend like 400 million, where we're capped on how much we can buy, we've got to sell and all that. And you were saying, Rich, that was because they don't want to risk these clubs that are not experienced in the Premier League to go daft for the money to go bankrupt. Is that what it's about?
I think so. I think Kev said that, didn't he? I think Kev mentioned that.
I think he did say something like that, yeah.
But it makes sense. Like, I don't know whether that is set in stone, like what it is, but it does make sense. I just don't get it. I mean, the Premier League advances every season, Cabby. They're bringing, world-class players into this league, and it's just impossible. Styles of football as well. I mean, I hate to compare, but let's just look at Newcastle for a second, right? I've always admired Eddie Howe, Eddie Howe's tactics. He just plays on the front foot. It's aggressive, it's quick, it's fast, it's ruthless. And a lot of teams are like that now, you know what I mean? But you've got to have that caliber of player to be able to do it. And obviously they spent something like 600 million to make that squad that they've got now. Are we going to be able to ever spend 600 million pound to make a team like that to compete? I don't think so, and I don't think it'll ever happen unless we get one of these rich Saudi Arabian princes coming over. But it's just money, and these clubs now can attract the caliber of player that we can only dream about. It's just a massive ask. If you compare it with like Arsenal and Man City, it's just worlds and worlds apart, like Cabby, in it. You know what I mean? We're going to have, even if I have 10 years in the Premier League, still never going to catch up to them teams.
Absolutely.
But,
Paul Stratton's just says, take care, we'll catch up with you again. Wish we were having your problems. Good luck to all your Mackems. Yeah, thanks for popping in, mate. You're welcome anytime, as always. That's Paul, the Coventry fan. Paul Graham says, I'd put a cheeky bid in for Radini or Harmer. That's been mentioned a few times. Ian Brown says, only Premier League teams can pay 1.2 million for Tanganga. The rest have to pay full price. David Joblin says, first season in the Premiership staying in. Tricia says, I haven't watched it. Richie's on about Sun Until I Die. She says the only Sky she's got is the one that she looks out the window. Fair enough. It's probably cheaper as well. Colin Mayer just says, it's up to us to prove all the doubters wrong. We will stay up till the end. I mean, Colin, the expert says there was no way Sunderland were going to get promoted. Sheffield United, 14 points ahead of us. They're going to be too strong for us at Wembley. And then at the end of the day, especially the second half, the last half hour of the second half, we destroyed them. We were well on top, and it was great to see. So there's not many teams in the Championship last season came from behind really to turn Sheffield United our way, and especially on the big stage as well. I mean, that's impressive. Janet says, Colin M, I believe. David Graham says, when Premier League fixtures come out this Wednesday morning, it would be a great start of the season at Everton and be the first visitors to their new ground on the banks of the Mersey. Anyway, we will see in 2 days. I've got a funny feeling, I think we'll get Liverpool at home, the same as what Ipswich got. But I do. Dougie says, I see Richard has been very frank there. Janet says, Dougie, that's what he gets for the big bucks. And Paul Stratton says he's away. Hello, Ken Walton. How are you doing? Good evening. He says, from Bood. And David Graham says, Wimbledon Tennis Championship starts in 2 weeks. Game, set and match. I don't mind the Wimbledon Tennis, if it's especially when there's a few Brits in. It's a nice summery thing to watch. I always like the bit of Wimbledon.
Can I get away with tennis, me like?
Oh no, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I only really watch the Wimbledon if it is on, but half the time it's full of Czechs and Croatians that didn't really interest us. Paul says, is Kev coming on tonight? He's going to try and make it. He's travelling back to his home now, and he says he'd probably get in about 8:30. But I've sent him the Zoom link, and he's welcome to join, even if it's for 5 minutes. If not, that's all well and good. See, we've just got another transfer rumour as well. Sam Greenwood to Sunderland.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I posted on my page. It keeps the YouTube channel taking hour, and a lot of people say, Cabbie, you're just making it up. I says, well, I'm not. I says, I'm actually reporting what I'm seeing. He's obviously a Leeds United fringe player. We're going to be linked with every single Tom, Dick and now, but I didn't mind. It gives me something to report because, I mean, yeah, there's some YouTubers make things up, just for clickbait and stuff. I didn't do that. It's as simple as that. Like, I don't know if you see my video the other day about Paddy Roberts. Do you think it's worth keeping hold of him? Do you think he's Premier League material? Bit of a mixed reaction there for Paddy Roberts. Some say he'd be absolutely ideal to come on from the bench as maybe his impact sub. Some players say he's nowhere near good enough for the Premier League. Look how bad he's been for the majority of this season. You know, and then he goes and redeems himself with playing the way he did in the final. And don't forget, he had a cracking game as well against Coventry at the Stadium of Light. I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? Paddy Roberts, what do you reckon?
I'll give him a go.
You reckon you give him a go?
There's one thing with Paddy Roberts I think that will come in our advantage next season, right? Is I think Paddy Roberts will win with a lot of free kicks. For the reason, if you have a look at Jack Grealish, obviously the way Jack Grealish comes on, he wins a lot of free kicks for Man City when he plays. And obviously Man City will take advantage of that. You know, they scored quite a lot of goals from free kicks. I think Paddy Roberts will do exactly the same job for next season because obviously we've got VAR, we've got, you know, it's a bit more, what's the word, like stringent, like a bit more, you know, there's more eyes on the game, if you get what I mean. It's a bit more strict than the Premier League compared to the Championship. And I think Paddy Roberts will be one of those players because he's skillful as he is and he can cut in. I think he will give some defenders in the Premier League a bit of a nightmare because, you know, he's not a big forward. He's only a little forward, and he can cause a few problems when he's coming in. And I think that's where he's going to be strengths is put in with those free kicks next season. I don't know. He's not Premier League quality. I think he's Championship at very best, Cabbie, but I think we need to give him a shot and see how he comes on. I can understand why some fans are saying that he's not this, he's not that, but who we're going to get in then? Because we're going to need backup for every single position next season, and we are very short on that right hand side. If we get rid of Paddy Roberts, we're going to need two right wingers to come in. You know what I mean? And are they going to be able to do the same job as what Paddy Roberts does in his style of play? I very much doubt it, but I think we need to give him a shot and just see how he goes, you know what I mean? But we need to strengthen that right-hand side. We need to strengthen the left-hand side as well, you know what I mean? There's even talks of people saying, get Jack Clark. And yeah, I'm all for that. Bring Jack Clark back. And I know that's a bit of an opinion where people might say, oh, God, really? But honestly, why not? You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah.
What we've got to lose. He's played for the club before. He's played a season for Ipswich. Yes, he hasn't played every game for Ipswich, but he's played in the Premier League now. You know, these are the types of players that maybe we should look at and just bite the bullet and say, right, we'll give them a shot and see how they come on.
Back some more in the chat as well. BBC makes everything's up, says D. Hall. Ian Brown says, Patrick Roberts in the last 10 minutes sub, just like the Sheffield match. Tricia says, I like Paddy Roberts. He is passionate. And he says the players respect him too. Dougie Stewart says, please like and subscribe. Next target 5,000 subscribers. Dougie, thank you. While away yet. Jim N says, Labrie rates Roberts. I'll take his judgment. And Davey's best mate is in the house. Pastor Alex, how are you doing?
Hey,
Pastor Alex. He says, hi, all my friends. David Graham says, if any folks on here that don't like tennis, then instead of the Open Golf Championship starts on July the 17th, Port Rush. Well, even better, in August, there's a 2-week thing on BBC Two, I think, is the Indoor Cardboard Bowl. So there we go.
Oh, God.
Tony,
hey, that's all right, you know. What? Cardboard Bowl?
that's all right. You didn't get the anxiety like when watching Sunderland, do you?
No.
Tony Huntington, good evenings, good to see you. It says Paddy seems better in the middle. A great backup for Enzo. Ian Brown says that Lorient from Sassuolo is decent, £17 million. Mackem Pastor Alex, VPA Uganda, says, I have good news. My visa has been accepted. He says he's moving to the UK. Well, there we go.
The Sunderland games then, Pastor.
Are you going to go on the pitch and say a prayer before? Forget about Wise Men Say getting sung before every game. Is Pastor Alex going to come on the centre spot and do a bit of preaching? That would be good, wouldn't it? Jim says, Jack Clark, no, to Jack Clark. He says, what does that do for Mundle? Says Jim. I seen a post on about the fact, like, somebody, like, not rating Mundle, you know. And I thought, like, are you nuts? He says that every time Mundle's on that pitch, we're a different side. I don't know what it is, but when Mundle comes on, I don't know what it is he does, but we win. It's as simple as that. So he's obviously doing something right, isn't he?
Yeah. He's been by far one of the best players last season, if not, easily the best attacking player out there with my end. I like. But, he's going to be another one to see, isn't he? He's going to be interesting to see next season, Mundle, how he gets on. He's got the pace, he's got the flair. He can pull anything out of anything, like we've seen. And that's going to be vital, having that pace, because that's what we need in the Premier League. But it's crazy what some people say, and I think some people just say it just to get a reaction out of people. But Mundle, he's by far the best attacking talent that we've got at the minute. Like,
absolutely. It's I mean, there's going to be more. I still think there'll be a few more players leaving. It's a question of who. Pastor Alex says, I will open a church next to the stadium. He says, I will give Sunderland forever glory, he says. The church of stadium of, like, would you be popping in the church to say hello to the vicar, Pastor Alex, Richie?
Oh, yeah, of course I will. Yeah, of course I will. I'll pop in and say hello to you, mate. Get baptised on my way in.
Get some wine. But pastor serves not the little cupboards of wine. It's the full bottle, apparently.
Need it if you're gone in there, like.
You know. Yeah. Tricia says, MACKEM, Pastor Alex, you're going to get in. You pray for us. Ian Brown says, Mundle is grafting now while the rest of them are on holiday. Yes, it's determined to do well in the Premier League. He says, and Pastor says, whoever is free on Sunday, we can pray and sing together. The Church of CABBIE. Someone's just said on my YouTube channel, I'm sick of that MACKEM CABBIE posting about these.
Oh God, man. Get a life, man.
I'm sick of MACKEM CABBIE. He says, we have to get a player better than the current squad. We need two wingers who must be better than Mundle. Hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it's not me. It's not coming from me. I'm reading, like a reporter or a newsreader. I'm reading what I'm seeing. You know, I'm just basically passing on the messenger. That's what I'm doing. And but how? I didn't mind if they want to say them.
Here's a question for you. Who do you think out of our squad, if you could just name a few players, do you think will be able to cope in the Premier League? Who do you think would basically have to get rid of? Like, how many players in that team do you think will be able to cope with the Premier League? So we're starting the goalkeepers, right? Do you think Patterson will be all right? Do you think he deserves a shout? Or do you think we need to bring somebody in?
I think Patterson deserves a shout. I mean, yes, he's had the odd fumble, but he's made some hell of a saves this season. Not forgetting against Coventry as well. And the two vital saves he made at the Wembley final. I mean, for a keeper to do it on the big occasion when it matters, and Patterson does that. Mm-hmm. You know, on the big occasion at Wembley, you know, when Kiefer Moore had that header, and the header wasn't straight at him. That was right in the bottom keeper's left-hand corner. And for him to get that and claw it out, I mean, and then in the second half, I think they were through on goal, and he spread himself, made himself look big, and stopped it with his legs. I definitely think he's worth a shout. But what concerns me is the fact, like, who we got for reserve if Patterson gets injured. That's what we've got to look at. I mean, do you think our second choice keepers are good enough for Premier League? I don't think they are. Maybe that's why Sunderland need to sort of recruit in that. Because if he does get injured, then you didn't want a weak goalkeeper, do you, for the Prem?
No. I don't think Moore and Blondie. Well, we haven't even seen Blondie, have we? You know what I mean? Since he's come to the club, he hasn't had a shot, you know. But I don't think Moore will be up there, and I think we need somebody to back it in. I mean, what about the defence then, Cabby? Like, obviously, do you think Trey Hume, Ballard, Serkin, Kielder, Elise, O'Nien? Who would you keep out of them?
Well, definitely Ballard, without doubt. He's solid. I would like to see us try maybe scanning for MACKEM as well, because I think he's been a great addition for Sunderland. You can't deny that with MACKEM. I know he's not our player, but you know he's played such a big part for Sunderland this season. There's been numerous times throughout the season where he's just been a rock. There's no got past him. O'Nien, like I say, I'm 50-50 with O'Nien. Hume, I would say, yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? Because it's such a huge jump. I mean, it's like dropping a cog in your car and putting your foot down. It's going to be twice as fast. You know, they're not going to get half the amount of time to react in the Championship, because the Premier League strikers, they just need half a touch, bang. Do you know what I mean?
Pace, isn't it?
It's the pace, aye. It's like they just get that fraction of a second and it's heading towards the goal. Not like the Championship where maybe you need a couple of touches, 2 or 3 touches around the box before you smack the ball in. Division 1, 4 or 5 touches. Division 2, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 touches. You know, your defence has got more time to sort of react. But in the Premier League, it's literally bang, bang. You know, it's so quick. It's the speed which the teams come forward, and whether they're not the likes of O'Nien will cope with that, I'm not too sure. Like, but I mean, look, we're just hoping the hierarchy's looking at the Premier League and judging the distance between the Championship and the Premier League. And I mean, if anybody's going to know, they're going to know, aren't they? If you know. They'll be watching games in the Premier League. They'll be judging it. They'll be looking at it, studying it, and they will be making decisions. You know, who they think's going to cut it and who not. But I don't think O'Nien defensive is Premier League. O'Nien, I don't think he is.
Because thing is with O'Nien, Cabby, is he can play in multiple positions. So I think getting rid of him would be a bad idea, because, you know, like you've just said there, we need cover. We're going to need somebody that's, you know, a bit flexible. O'Nien can play in midfield. He can play at left back. He can play at right back. He can play centre half. He's going to be a versatile player that we're going to need. We're going to need maybe 1 or 2 of those players. And again, like you said, Trey Hume or Dan Ballard or Serkin or anybody like that gets injured, we've got no backup really. You know what I mean? Yes, we've got Kielder and we've got Alan Brown that can slot in and play those full back positions. But that centre half position is really worrying me. Like, the thing with Chris MACKEM is, from what I understand, is that he's had a an extension clause at the end of his contract, and I think that's, you know, it's been triggered, and that's why he's staying there to make terms with them. But I think that's all just down to money for Bournemouth, you know, to make sure they're not going to lose any money on him. But we need to get him back. If not, we need a replacement, if not better than what MACKEM is. You know, the defence next season needs to be rock solid. You know what I mean? We're going to be defending the majority of games next season, but we've got to get the right personnel in. And I agree with you. I think O'Nien's not the quality we need, but we need his versatility. Dan Ballard's going to be another one. We all know that Dan Ballard, you know, sometimes he is made of glass. And when he does get injured, he's out for a period of time, you know. It's not maybe it's just a week or two. He's out for quite a while. But when we do get him back, he's solid. And I think Dan Ballard is going to be a Premier League quality standard player next season. You know, I think he's going to step up. He's going to prove his worth. But we desperately need cover. Desperately need cover at the back.
I mean, you know how much it impacted us in the Championship when we got injured. I mean, if there's anything more that you need depth, it's the bloody Premier League, isn't it? But you're going through our squad players and stuff. I mean, Enzo Lafay, definitely. Mundell, I think he's worth a shout. Definitely worth a try. Mienda, 100%. I think he could be the surprise package in the Premier League next season. The way he took his goal at Wembley, I mean, to have the composure, that touch, that... You know when I says to you before, when the Premier League teams break, it's bang, bang. That's exactly what Mienda did against Sheffield United, that goal. It was just a little dink with his left foot, and within a millisecond, it's bang, bang. The defence and the keeper has no chance in hell of reacting to that. And
he's got the swagger as well, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's got that swagger about him. Confidence is building in him.
That was a well, 2 Premier League quality finishes they were. As far as I'm concerned. And Sheffield United's was a good goal as well. There were 3 really good goals. But I definitely think Mienda's worth a shot. Isidore, I'm not too sure of. He started off superbly with Sunderland, and ever since he's signed that contract, he's gone off the ball. Yes, I know he did score that important goal at Coventry City. I don't know. Something tells me I think Isidore could struggle in the Premier League, just because the fact he struggled in the Championship a bit. I mean, what do you reckon about Isidore?
The thing is, Cabbie, he's got it all there. You know what I mean? He's got the pace. He's got the finishing ability. We've all seen it. And he's another player. You know, like Mundell, he's a flair player. He can do the most unexpected at best times. You know what I mean? He can score unbelievable goals like we've all seen in the Championship last season. I mean, that goal against Coventry, was it, where you think that I was the top of the keeper, and then you've seen Chris Rigg standing behind him with his hands over his face like, oh, I've just seen, you know. He's got it. But has he got the work ethic? I think that's what it is with him, is he just doesn't work hard enough sometimes. And maybe that just needs to be improved with good coaching, but he's got it. He just needs to find a way of being able to utilise him. But it's see, with the midfield as well, with Chris Rigg, I'm not sure how Chris Rigg will get on. Again, he's a wonder kid. He's 17-year-old, but is he going to be able to play to the physicality of the Premier League? I'm not sure. And he's another one. He's got it all there. You know, he's past led out to be a top sort of like player. But it's just trying to develop him and give him that confidence to go out and do it on the pitch is another thing in the Premier League. I just think what's worrying us, Cabbie, is just we haven't got enough depth. Midfield as well now with Job gone. Who's going to be covering that position for Job? You know what I mean? Job was like, he's done a lot of different jobs where, you know, he's box to box. He was, you know, breaking play up midfield. He was aggressive sometimes, scored goals. You know, he was getting involved. He had the height. He had the physicality. And he's another one that's going to have to be replaced as well. So the recruitment here is going to have to be absolutely bang on. There's going to have to be no, you know, or maybe it will, or bringing in injured players when he's fit, you know, he's quality. We can't have any of that next season, Cabbie. We've got to bring them in. We've got to have good depth, but we've got to have good players as well. It's hard, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to say it now when we haven't signed anybody, but the next few weeks we're going to find out, you know, exactly what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. I was going to catch up on some more of the messages as well. There's a rattling in. There's that many coming through. David Graham says, all right, even further back. Ian Brown says, Hume, Ballard, Lafay, Mienda, Pato, they are all my starters. Then we have to improve every other position. Dougie says it's great that Cabbie spends his time keeping us up to date with transfer news. Tricia says Brown, definitely Mienda. David Graham says maybe we could snap James Trafford from Burnley and deny Newcastle the chance to sign the Burnley goalie. And Tricia says he does a hell of a lot of work in the background too, so he's a superstar in my eyes. Anything we snatch from Newcastle would be good, said Tricia. Ian Brown says, we had this 5-year plan for a reason, and that was to cement our place in the Premier League. Stephen Taylor says, do you not rate Mundle, Ian? Good evening to Etienne. He says, Calatara R, I wouldn't mind as an experienced centre-back. Or Caleta. Caleta Carr, he says. Tricia says, the thing is, any of the young Premiership players wouldn't get experience in the Premiership. The thing is, any of the young players wouldn't get experience in the Premiership if they are not given a chance. Ian Brown says, yes, Steve, Mundle as well. Yes, Steve, Mundle as well, but he struggles to take players on. How is he supposed to get past proper Premier League defenders? Dougie Stewart says, well, agreed, Tricia. Cabby does amazing job. Thank you very much, Dougie. David Graham says, I heard a rumour that West Ham were interested in me, and that's been surfaced a few times about Mienda with West Ham. But if he does a cracking job in the Premier League, you know, you're going to have the vultures in the Premier League going for him.
Of course, yeah.
Ian Brown says, Mienda is going nowhere this season, but if he'll go, he says, we will get relegated, that's for sure. Steve Taylor says he has great pace, Ian, which is half the battle. On about Mundle, says Steve Taylor. Etienne says, no, Isidore is awesome technically. If you put him in a good situation, he will score stunning goals. Janet says, our rig is injured right now. Apparently it's his ankle. Jim N says, playing less games will benefit Wilson. Tricia says, Alan Brown, I hope he doesn't go. We do need him. Colin Major says, got a name for the channel. How about the MACKEM Cabbies fan zone? You see, I mean, yeah, I do love the name, but it's the fact, like, because I've got that many people sort of helping us, it's like I don't want to be sort of too vain and just call it like the MACKEM Cabbie Show or the MACKEM Cabbie channel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
I'm not bothered, man.
It isn't just about me, is it? But
I like that one though. Like the fans one. That's
the MACKEM Cabbies fan zone. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If anybody wants to have a name for the channel, for the show, and then, you know, feel free indeed to post any links or any comments and stuff as well. If you've got any ideas, I'm up for it, because I do agree it's a mouthful. The MACKEM Cabbie Davey Kev Richie show tonight, but it's, yeah, hit me with as many ideas as you want. Jim N says, Mienda scored with a right foot in playoff final. Think he's working on becoming 2-footed. Yeah, absolutely class. Like, playing less games will benefit Wilson, says Jim N. As I've got the hiccups. Call it the MACKEM Cabbie Taxi Show. I'll get me quote, says Bong. Cabbie and the Supreme, says Ian Brown. Cabbie and Friends, says Dougie Stewart. Cabbie and Friends. Almost sounds like a kids' TV show, doesn't it? Cabbie and Friends. Hello, kids. How are you doing?
Right,
MACKEM Cabbie and Friends, says Janet. I don't know. The more names coming through, the better. And why not? I think the channel name should be MACKEM Pasta Cabbie, says. Have a guess who that's from?
Aye.
Tricia says, I tried to make an algorithm put your initials, but I couldn't make a name out of it. It has to have MACKEM Cabbie in it. Whatever we end up calling in it, it has to have MACKEM Cabbie in the channel, he says, because after all, it is the MACKEM Cabbie channel. So yeah, like I say, we'll have a good think what to do. So what about players who you think are good enough? So anyone we've missed out? Who have we missed out? Who's like good enough? Who's not good enough?
Or do you think Dan Neil will get on then? Do you think Dan Neil will get on all right?
Do I think Dan Neil is good enough for the Premier League? That's another sort of one I'm not too sure about. Because he's been quite a lot of games this season where he's been immense. I think it'll be a shock to the system for Dan Neil in the Premier League. I think the Premier League's, for captaincies wise, I think the Premier League would be too big of a league for him to be a captain.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
So we need like Henderson, don't Maccabi to come in. You know what I mean? He'll be perfect for that. And I'm sure Dan Neil will give up the captaincy to Jordan Henderson, and he'll be the perfect player just to be an anchor player, just sit in front of that defence and orchestrate that midfield.
Yeah.
Dan Neil, he's not gonna do well playing in that centre defensive midfield position, just in front of the two centre halves. We need somebody that's going to sit there and protect them. Dan Neil's not that type of player. Dan Neil, if anything, can play further forward and create more. He could slot into Job's position. In my opinion.
I mean, a lot of Dan Neil's play, he has been spot on of organising the midfield and that now, especially now we've lost Job Bellingham. Because when Job and Dan Neil were on it, they were unplayable, and our midfield was just class. There wasn't, not many teams in the Championship could cope with it. You know what I mean? Bar the Leeds and Sheffield United and stuff, but definitely worth a shout indeed. The happy hour of fun zone for the Mackem Cabbie show. The Mackem Carty show, says Bong. Cabbie and Co. That sounds like a clothes chain shop, doesn't it? Cabbie and Co. shop. I don't know. Cabbie and passengers. Mackem Cabbie and his passengers, says. Ian Brown says, we have a weak midfield. Job is the core of the midfield. Must invest. Midfield is the source of the pitch, which I can understand that one. I don't know. It's at the minute.
There's a lot of ifs and buts, isn't there, Cabbie, and a little bit of worries and things like that. But like I said to you a little bit earlier, I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in these. It's next few weeks, but is a transfer window open on Wednesday as well?
Well, someone said the transfer window is open now. Again, it's open again now.
Is it? Or it must have been today then, if it is.
Yeah, because it was only a few days, but now the Club World Cup's underway. It is actually open as such, which I'm not that bothered with the Club World Cup, to be honest with you.
Aye. It's a good little tournament though, like Cabbie. Like it's been going, I think, for a few years that now,
It's great for anybody that likes football and they're missing it. For that's missing the football with the end of the season and stuff. Without a shadow of a doubt. Bong says, Mackem Cabbie time and a half hour. Open to Ian Brown, yeah. David Graham says, anyway, 2 months from now is when the new walk bridge over the Weir should be open, I think. Yeah, somebody says you should call that bridge Regis Le Bridge.
I like that. It's good, actually. Yeah, I like that.
I don't think it matters what it's called. I mean, it's a bridge going over the Stadium of Light. I mean, how many times have I crossed the Weymouth Bridge? I've never thought about what it's called. I just see it as a bridge to cross out to get us to the stadium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's, the fans, it doesn't matter if it gets officially named something, the fans will have their own version of it anyway. Loads of fans wanted to call it the Bradley Lowry Way, or something like that, which I think is quality.
Yeah, it is. That would be nice if they did, but it'll probably be down to the council. When if the council will probably end up naming it something absolutely crap like. But I like that the Bradley Lowry Bridge that would be a nice little touch.
Oh,
his parents are coming open it,
Cabbie's Premier.
Did you see any soccer raid last night, by any chance?
I heard about it. I've not yet watched it. My daughter came in, and she was watching her things. But apparently, it was a cracking game. The rest of the world, and Carlos Tevez came in and scored about 4 goals, didn't he?
Oh, mate, when he come on, man, he took it so seriously. It was quite embarrassing to watch him. That's what I was going to mention. It was just like, even the commentators were saying, does he know it's a charity game? And you could tell it was getting really serious. But even,
yeah,
there was a few of them that were doing it like that. Bonucci, he done a really bad tackle on that Steph Houghton. And I thought, how man, slow down a bit. You've just retired here, man.
Yeah.
But Jermaine Defoe, he looked cracking again, I still think he could do a job, mate.
He scored Jermaine Defoe in the match. Apparently, it was a volley or something at the roof of the net.
Yeah, good. He did well. But, it was just, with Tevez, man, CABBIE, it was just embarrassing. I thought, just chill out a bit. He was getting stuck in and fouling people and things like that. And I thought, it's a charity game, man. Just relax a bit, will you? But it was good. I mean, I only watched the second half of it. Like, seen Rooney's goal when I watched the highlights. But it was good. It was interesting. £15 million as well, the race for them. It annoys me sometimes, because you've got the likes of like Tyson Fury and these massive like stars, Robbie Williams and all them, and then they're begging people to donate 40 quid. It's like, how man, just you sticking a few quid as well, you know what I mean? You're a multi-millionaires here, man. But it was interesting, like. But I'm going to watch some of that Club World Cup. I'm going to watch the Benfica match tonight. Benfica Boca Juniors, I think it is.
That's right.
It's after Chelsea. Yeah, so I'll watch that.
Well, we've come to the end of the show anyway. They should have named it the CABBIE Bridge. Defoe got a brace. Tevez played like it was the Champions League final. I'll have to watch that, like, I really will.
Good.
David Graham says, probably call the Bridge of Sighs after this season. Hey, I'm still on a high. Honestly, I'm still on a high from what we did. I watched the replay of the Sunderland Coventry game at the Stadium of Light, and I was still crapping a brick. I was still nervous. Honestly, I was still anxious watching it. Crazy.
Did you see the YouTube video that the site interrupt you there, Kelly? The YouTube video that they put out for the build-up.
No, I'm going to watch it. It's like a documentary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on for an hour. It's really good. I've watched it twice now. I don't know if anybody else in chat's seen it, but it's on the Sunderland YouTube page, and it's just all the build-up towards the games with Coventry, and then obviously the final, but it was from like a player's perspective. They say as soon as they turned right to go down, it was Dan Neil, turned right to go to. He says all I could see was just red smoking on the. I won't spoil it too much. When they were like, when you could hear it, you could hear people banging on the bus. You just couldn't see anything but red mist. But it's a brilliant watch, like really, really interesting.
I will definitely put in to have a look at that without a doubt. It's well worth a watch. I definitely think they should bring a Son Until I Die series 4, whatever. But apparently the cameras weren't there. But the club's got to do something to put on Netflix. I mean, they followed Son and get relegated from the Premier League, get relegated into the into League One. Had failed attempts to getting back to the Championship. A successful attempt getting back to the Championship. They've got to have the creme to the creme, haven't they, and getting put back into the Premier League. Crikey. Yeah, it'd be like going to a massage parlour and having a happy ending, wouldn't it?
I don't know anything about that, like CABBIE.
Oh dear. But cheers for joining tonight anyway. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Anyway, next time CABBIE is live on YouTube, Sunderland fans will know who they are playing next season. I will be up before 9 AM on Wednesday for the fixtures. Right, before we go then, let's put in the chat, who do you think, not who you want, who do you think Sunderland will get first game of the season? I'm going to go with Sunderland's going to play Burnley. I think we're going to get one of the other two teams that's got promoted with us. I'm going to say Sunderland a home to Burnley. That's who I'm going to go for. Who do you say, Rich? Who do you reckon we'll get?
I think it's going to be a big team. I think it's going to be one of the top 6 teams, apart from Newcastle. So maybe it's like Man City or Arsenal. I think those will be the games that, on the first day to play, because we'll be all up for it and full of enthusiasm. You know what I mean? I think we'll be able to, give them a right good go. So I'll be happy with one of the big teams for the first game of the season. So I'll say Arsenal.
You're saying Arsenal. Well, we'll make a note of this, and on the next show, I will obviously say who's been right. Bong says, Canny, great show, lads. See you next Monday, says Ian Brown. You're welcome. Yep. Tricia says, I need to get Sky or something so I can watch all these things, plus the matches. It's all coming out now, guys. David Graham says, Everton away. Bong says, Man U. D. Hall says, Aston Villa. Yeah, I'm not going to say whether we're home or away, just the team. So it doesn't matter. Paul Graham says Leeds, so he's going for another team that's just come up. Brentford at home, says Ian Brown. Tricia says she thinks it's going to be Leeds United. Dougie Stewart says Everton. James Humble says Everton at home. A few people saying Everton. Colin Major says I think Spurs. David Graham says Newcastle away before Christmas. Kind of see it being Newcastle first game of the season. Can you imagine if it isn't? We'll thump them. Oh, God's sake.
I know.
David Joblin says Liverpool. They're the same team that visited Ipswich. I think they beat Ipswich 4-0 or something. Wasn't it 3-0, 3-1 or something? James Humble says, being a league of fixtures and supposed to be Newcastle at home on Boxing Day, I still don't think they're going to put Boxing Day for Newcastle when everybody's in the festive mood and, canned up with drink and this and that and the other. They're not going to put Newcastle.
The police will say no to that. They will. They'll just say, no, we're not doing it. And there'll be no way, imagine that. If you go to the match on Boxing Day and it's a 12 o'clock kickoff against Newcastle, you're going to have to be up early. You're going to have to be up 7, 8 o'clock in the morning just to get there. You can't build up the atmosphere getting in it. It's not going to be fair on both sets of fans, both Newcastle and Sunderland fans. And I can't say the police saying aye. And then the other game was away. Was it there's on Easter Monday, did you say?
Uh-huh.
It's just Easter Monday. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just mental, but you never know. We'll have to see what happens.
Anyhow, cheers, Richie, for coming. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah,
thanks, everybody. And I've made a note of what people have said. And Davey, if you are watching, hope you're well, fella. And hope your family's well too. So we're all still thinking of you, mate. And everybody does give you the best wishes. So, Richie, do you want to say toodaloo?
Cheers. Nice to catch up with you again.
Right, you too.
Take care of yourself, Big Davey. Thinking about you, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you later, guys. Thank you very much. And there'll be more videos coming as they always are. We'll see you later.